This is not a test. This is your emergency broadcast system announcing the commencement of Phatts TV, sanctioned by PA Phatts and the non-genetically proven Sun. Any and all words have been authorized during the show. There is nothing off limits. Nobody is restricted from watching and participating in the show. It is a free-for-all. Commencing at the siren, any and all discussions will be legal for an extended period of time. Sports, politics, and any and all controversial topics will be talked about. You have been warned. May God be with us all.
Thank you. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Phatts TV on this Wednesday night, December the 30th, 2020. The last episode of Phatts TV for this year. Thank God this year is coming to an end. Hopefully next year isn't anything like this year. Joining me, he's back in his underground bunker. In the heart of liberal progressive bastion land in the center part of our state, the non-genetically proven Sun. How you doing?
Hey, I'm doing great. It's boring up here.
You know, with the angle at which the camera is right now, your face looks very elongated. It's not round, it's like oval.
Thanks. Do you want me to move my camera?
No, I'm just saying your face looks stretched. So,
I got the you thing right there.
So you got to do some like traveling almost through the four corners of this state over the past week.
I guess, yeah, we're getting close.
We were up in the northeastern part of the state on Christmas Eve and had to drive back in that torrential rainstorm.
I was asleep.
And the day after Christmas, we went a little bit north, and then you drove back to State College. And then the next day, you drove down to Johnstown to pick up an Xbox. Don't ask.
Hey, they're not in stock. If I really felt like it, I could have sold this guy right here, he's right there, for like $750, and I didn't buy it for that much. It's a lot cheaper than that.
Okay. So the only place you didn't go is like up near Erie.
Yeah. Got out towards Pittsburgh this week. Got up towards Wilkes-Barre.
Yeah. Yes. Now, around here and up there, Friday they're calling for freezing rain. So, which is fine because we'll all be inside watching football that day. And we're going to talk a little bit about football. But, so tonight we're going to talk about three things. We're going to talk about current events, what's going on right now. And then we're going to get into the Phatts Fantastic Five for the week, the last one of the year. Again, thank God.
Why? I kind of like this year. I'm doing all right.
This is by far my worst year of betting since God knows when.
I feel like you've been saying that every year for the last
No, usually I'm above 500. This... Not even like actual betting, I'm doing good.
So when everything's normal, that's what I'm going to start doing bad.
Right. And then we're going to end the show with some of our favorite clips from our past episodes of this year.
Oh, boy.
And yes, we got some clips of our very first episode. We got some clips of our last episode. And some in the middle that I went through and I watched a bunch of them today.
Let's say, please tell me you actually went through all of them. That's a lot.
I not all of them, because I remember when we were doing funny stuff, and I remember when we were doing serious stuff, and I didn't want to get videos of serious
the entire election show?
No. No, I'm not going to show the entire election show. No.
Well, that was like 10.5 hours.
Yes, it was. So our message board is live and operational, as always. If you're out there and you want to comment, feel free to comment. Let me know any New Year's resolutions that you might have.
Do you have one?
I do.
What's that?
I do. To be even a bigger dick to people than I am now.
That's really hard to do. Oh, wait, I know how to do it. Pretty. Put something political in your yard. There you go.
So, I want to talk about first an article that was in the New York Times. Okay. A very controversial article about a young girl who did something that didn't go over very well when she was a freshman in high school. She is now, I believe, a freshman in college. So this was 4 years ago that this happened. She lives down south. And she made a 3-second Snapchat video. Sent it out to a bunch of her friends. Now, what was going on in this 3 seconds? She didn't show any of her body. You know, this isn't a child pornography thing. You know, she didn't flash her boobs or anything, which we don't need to see a 14 or 15-year-old's boobs for sure. She said a naughty word. A word that you shouldn't say. That begins with the letter N. You shouldn't say it. So, somebody saved this video for 3 years and then released it to the public so that she would get kicked out of her dream college. Now, I'm not going to say what the name of the college is, but it's a big school down south. Now, you know, the girls, again, when this happened, 14 or 15 years old. Should she have said it? No, of course not. She said, you know, she apologized, first off, and said that she heard that word in listening to music. And let's face it, you do hear that word a lot in certain types of music. The question is, now, the person who leaked the video, it was a guy, I believe, said he doesn't regret doing it. He doesn't regret basically destroying this girl's life. Well, you know, I have a problem with this. The girl, again, was 14 or 15 when this word was said. It's not like she was my age. If somebody my age were to say it, yeah. We know better. You know, I'm in my late 40s. I know better. I've never said that word. I would never say that word. And I know better. And if I do say that word, there should be consequences because of my age. This girl, a young teenager, said it because she heard it in a song. Maybe she didn't even know what it meant. Who knows? The mind isn't developed at 14 or 15 years old. Whatever happened to forgiving and overcoming mistakes? You know, if, God forbid, she was 16 and was out drinking and drove and hit somebody and killed somebody, she eventually, once she served her time in juvenile hall, would get forgiven. Why does this girl need to have the rest of her life destroyed for a 3-second video saying a word that she shouldn't have said? This is the stuff that happened over in Germany some 75 years ago. This is the stuff that happened over in Russia 75, 85, 90 years ago. Obviously not with that word. Where you could be killed for saying the wrong thing. That is, to its core, fascism. Now again, should she have said the word? No. Absolutely not. Should the college that she wanted to go to ever since she was a little girl have pulled her scholarship, pulled her acceptance, and told her, no, you can't come here? No. They shouldn't have. When you are a teenager, you are allowed to make a mistake without it ruining your life. You have any opinions on this? I know you probably didn't hear anything about this.
I have not. But if that's the case, I guess I can go get half the campus thrown out of school.
Yeah.
I'm sure everybody, said it one time or another.
Well, you would hope not.
Well, yeah, you'd hope not, but, it comes up, whether it's a song or whatever.
I mean, I would hope you never said it.
If it was in a song, maybe I was singing it, that's about it.
I mean, where does this cancel culture that we're in now end? You people that subscribe to this theory of cancel culture, of ruining a person's life for making a mistake, be careful. Because the next mistake might be yours. It might be yours. And you don't want your mistakes plastered all over the internet for forever. Again, the girl was 14, 15 years old. If she was my age, completely different story. But at 14, 15-year-old, you should be allowed to say, I'm sorry, and learn from it. Not have your life destroyed. The girl is now going to community college instead of the university that she was accepted to.
So she got accepted, and the university kind of said, screw you.
Yeah, once the video was leaked.
Yeah, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
A video that the kid saved for 3 years to bring it up at the opportune time to hurt the girl.
I would hope she's taking that to court.
No, as far as I know, she's not.
But
the thing is, the article in the New York Times thought it was a good thing that all this stuff happened to her. No, New York Times, it's not. What are we becoming as a society when you say one wrong word and your whole life gets ruined because of one wrong word? When you're 15 or 14 years old. I feel sorry for the girl. Now, the university, they should have been more adult about this. And said, okay, you made a mistake. You were 15. You apologized. Do it again, and we will expel you. Everybody, especially at that age, makes mistakes. I remember your junior year in high school. You made a big mistake with something. It's not something you said. You were forgiven. We don't need to bring up what it was. It wasn't anything legal, illegal, stuff like that. But you were forgiven. You made a mistake. And you were forgiven. Because you were young, stupid, naive. Again, the person my age, it's completely different. But when you're that young, your life shouldn't be ruined for 3 seconds of stupidity when you don't know any better. That's all I'm going to say. If you would like to comment, feel free to comment. Maybe you agree with the New York Times article, and that's your right to agree. But I say it again, for those of you that do agree, be careful. You're walking a slippery slope. This is what the Nazis did in the mid-1930s. And the next person to be canceled might be you.
Sounds about what I was going to say, North Korea.
Yeah.
Always pretty similar now.
Yes.
If you want to compare it to something.
Yes. So be careful. You might be the next one that gets canceled because you never know when somebody's recording video these days. Who knows? So I want to turn to politics a little bit. I don't want to talk about politics too much tonight. So our great president wants all Americans to have $2,000.
Except me. I ain't gonna get it. I mean, maybe I'll get it. I don't know how the bill's written, unless it's the same bill, basically.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to see. My feeling is you won't get it.
Which would probably also mean our school's gonna get another grant.
Probably.
Because you're actually leaving out people that need the money the most.
Yes, but you might be getting some student loan forgiveness.
That too.
A lot more than $600 or $2,000.
Yeah, I might be getting a semester of student loan forgiveness.
Yeah. So if you could have one or the other, okay.
I mean, it's nice.
So
I need more rent money, though.
So, Democrats are all for this.
Of course they are.
Some Republicans are for it and some are against it. Now, I've seen a quasi-family member of mine wrote on Facebook today calling Mitch, the Senate Majority Leader,
McConnell,
thank you, a dick.
Because he's blocking it.
Because he's not allowing the bill to come up as a vote, as a standalone vote. He's putting it in with a package. Okay, fine. You don't like it? Fine. That's the same thing that Democrats do all the time. This COVID relief bill was part of the budget bill. The budget bill was the part of the bill that's giving billions of dollars to all these different countries.
Oh, I've heard it a lot of times where my friends are going, why are we giving $10 million to Syria or whatever for gender studies?
Pakistan.
Yes. Pakistan.
Yes, and they're right. We shouldn't be giving as much money as we're giving when Americans are hurting. I completely agree. But for those of you that think that it's in the COVID bill where we're giving all this money away, it's not. It's in the budget bill. The COVID bill was part of the budget bill. Nancy merged them. Something Democrats do all the time. So Mitch wants to merge the extra $2,000 with eliminating, the 230, which talks about, Facebook and Twitter having, that they can't be sued for what other people say. And he wants a committee to study potential election fraud. Okay. He also thinks that, and there's a lot of Republicans that think this bill is too expensive. I happen to agree that it is too expensive. Now, before you start trashing me and throwing me under the bus, I want you to understand. The bill is giving $2,000 per person up to them having adjusted gross income of $75,000. And then after 75, it starts to phase out. And if you get above 99, you get nothing. That's per person. So if you have a husband and a wife, they both get that $75,000. So that means they can have adjusted gross income of $150,000 and still get $4,000 from the government. I'm sorry. You don't need it. Nobody with an adjusted gross income as a family of $145,000 needs $4,000 from the government. You just don't. I don't care what you set it at. I don't care if you make it $60,000 per person, which means I wouldn't get hardly anything, which is I'm fine with.
That's me.
Okay.
But there's a fire station on the next block.
Yeah, I just wondered, was it you or was it because there's a fire station right down the road from me, as you know. So people are slamming Mitch all over the place. Well, but he's got a point on this. People making X amount of money shouldn't be getting, they don't need the help. So they should agree on a far lesser amount of adjusted gross income to get to $2,000. Maybe around $100,000, not $150,000.
I was thinking like 70 to 80.
Again, if you're a married couple, you could make up to $150,000 of adjusted gross income. Not income, adjusted gross income, and still get $4,000 from the government. That's disgusting. You don't need it. You don't deserve it. So, yeah, I'm not going to defend many people in Congress, but I am going to defend this. Again, if you have a difference of opinion, feel free to let me know. Feel free. So, I want to talk about one other thing on politics, and then we'll get to the better stuff.
If you don't mention it, I want you to talk about something.
Okay.
If this isn't what you're... Yeah.
So, Christmas Eve, we travel.
Right.
Up to visit family.
Right.
I have family members that watch this show. I have family members that don't watch this show. I want to talk to the family members that don't watch this show in hopes that you find out about this. Because one family member, while we were sitting at their house, said, I've seen clips of your show. And I've seen that Confederate flag that you used to hang behind you. I'm sorry, brother dear. It wasn't a Confederate flag. It was a Trump flag. So I don't know what you're insinuating about Trump or about me or about my non-genetically proven son. I have no idea what you're insinuating. But I asked you, and I had this conversation with somebody else who hates Trump, who voted for Biden. And yes, that whole side of my family, as far as I know, voted for Biden. It's their opinion. Their right to vote for whoever they want. I asked my brother, and I asked this other person, what do you have against populism? They both told me nothing. They like populism. So, I said, then it's your hatred for Trump, not your hatred for populism. The one person I'm not related to that I had this conversation with, I said, he said, Trump's an asshole, so I didn't vote for him. Okay, fine. You think he's an asshole? You think he's an asshole. Again, your opinion. So you voted for an elitist, someone who's completely against populism, and you support populism. The same thing happened with my brother. Dear brother, I asked you what you thought about populism. I had to explain to you what populism was. Whether you knew or not, I don't know. I just explained it. And you said, yeah, I'm for that. Well, we have a president who is a populist president. But you voted for the other guy because you don't like our president.
Who's told you're for socialism?
What's that saying? You're biting off your nose to spite your face?
I don't know if anybody's in favor of socialism. If you asked...
Oh, there's a lot of people in favor of socialism.
Okay, if you asked all 370 million Americans, you explain exactly what socialism is, how many do you think would say, yeah, I'm for that?
Well, I'm going to tell you right now, the age group 25 and under, more than half will vote for yes. Will say yes to socialism.
But you got to tell them that's what the Soviet Union was, and that's what...
They wouldn't care because they don't know. The Soviet Union was done by the time they were born.
We all learned about it.
Yeah.
We all learned Horrible.
But you didn't really learn about it. You learned about it, but you didn't really learn about it. About everything that goes on with communism and socialism and stuff.
Oh, how we were told the Nazis were communists and not fascists, too?
Yeah, in essence, they were. You know, the Nazi Party was the National Socialist Party.
Or how we were told that fascism is the extreme right.
In some circles it is. And in some circles it's extreme left as well. But yes, so, and I posted this on Facebook last night. I posted a picture of Trump and I said, if your hatred of Trump is more than your love of our country, you are the problem. And I agree, you are the problem. The fact that you could support an ideology and then vote for the exact opposite because the person who's trying to institute that ideology in this country, you consider an asshole, so you vote against the ideology you say you support. That makes 0 sense. 0 cents. But you keep saying that I had a Confederate flag behind me. Asshole.
My Confederate flag is right here.
You keep saying that.
So you didn't talk about what I thought you were going to talk about.
I'm not done yet.
Okay. I'm not done yet.
It's a shame, brother dear, that somebody 7 years older than me is so fucking stupid. Because you think stupid. You support an ideology, but you don't vote for the guy because you think he's an asshole, so you vote for the exact opposite ideology.
Idiot!
Confederate flag my ass. I really hope I'm going to gift wrap this episode and send it to you.
This is like this leads me back to when everybody said the Confederate flag was racist.
Yes. Go ahead and speak what you wanted to speak about.
I want you to explain to me and everybody in the world what the Impoundment and Control Act of 1974 is and why Trump invoked it.
Would you rather me talk about the Impoundment Control Act of 1974 or the Electric Fan Act of 2020? The Electric Fan Improvement Act of 2020. All right. So, here's, in a nutshell, here's what the Impoundment Act of 1974 is. It's a power that the president actually has that never gets used, rarely gets used.
Clearly.
Where he could take a bill, specifically a spending bill, and say no, 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 to different lines. A lot of people will say, well, that's the line item veto, which the Supreme Court ruled unconstitutional, which the Supreme Court should have ruled unconstitutional. In my opinion, even though a lot of my Republican friends right now would disagree with me, the line item veto should have been ruled unconstitutional. That's the legislature's power to do that, not the executive. The executive enforces the laws made by the legislature. So, what that act does now is, so he puts a red line. He signs the bill still, and he puts a red line through the parts that he doesn't like. So that freezes the spending on those parts. Now, as I understand the bill, and I hope I understand it correctly, I may not, but as I read it, it freezes it to up to 45 days. That's it, 45 days. At which point, Congress could either do three things. A, retake up that part of the legislation that the president redlined and vote to change the amount. They could vote to not change the amount. Or, as I understand it, if they do nothing for 45 days, it goes away. If that's the case, then it doesn't matter if a president redlines, impounds the bill or not, parts of the bill. Because Congress could just simply ignore it, if I'm understanding it right. So in essence, that's the Impoundment Control Act of 1974. Very rarely used. A lot of these laws that Trump is using has been very rarely used. January 6th is going to be a very interesting day, but we will talk about that next Tuesday, on next Tuesday's show.
Am I supposed to go down to D.C. and be live from D.C.?
If you would like to, feel free. I will be working, so I can't.
Would probably not feel all that safe in D.C.
Well, during the day, you're fine.
I would be worried about where I'm parking my car and how I'm getting out.
You can walk to D.C. So, let's get into the Phatts Fantastic Five.
Our last 2 weeks have been horrendous.
Our last 2 weeks have been horrendous. You have gone 3-7 the last 2 weeks. I have gone 2-8 the last 2 weeks.
Hey, no 0-5s though.
No 0-5s. That's correct. No 0-5s. 2 weeks ago, we both went 1-4. Last week, you went 2-3. I went 1-4. So,
hey, I haven't had an 0-5 all 2020. That's,
yeah.
I think it's a round of applause.
Neither did I. I did have a 5-0 though.
I did not have a 5-0.
All right. So here is the non-genetically proven Sons picks for the week. He's currently 42-33, so he will finish above 500, even if he were to lose all 5. He's taking both of the college playoff games.
Right.
And we're going to talk about them in a little bit more detail right after this. But he likes the over in the Alabama-Notre Dame game of 65.5. He likes Clemson -7. He likes the under in the West Virginia Army game, 41.5. He likes Green Bay -5, and he likes the Washington football team -1.5. Now, I like one of your plays. I agree with one of your plays, as it's in my picks too, which means it's going to lose. And I absolutely hate one of your plays. I was actually thinking about if I had to make a 6th pick, I would have picked the opposite of one of your games. So, would you like to talk about any of the last 3? We'll save the top 2 for the next segment when we talk about the college championships.
Well, with the Army game, I looked at that game and was just like, these are two meh offenses. Very meh. As in the over-unders 41 for a college game. That's very, very low.
It is.
Well, Army hasn't put up 41 points in their last 2 games. I don't think they put up half of that.
Nope.
Just
they won 10-3 and 10-7, I think, something like that.
Yeah. Oh. So, obviously, all they do is run the ball. Let me find the game. If I could find the game. Because there's one stat that I saw that made me pick this. Where in the world is the game? There it is. Ugh. West Virginia does not give up that many rush yards.
Okay.
They give up about 126 a game.
Okay.
Their defense is actually quite solid. Their offense sucks.
Okay.
And Army, all they do is run the ball. So as long as they could stop the run, I could see 17-10.
Okay. Which would be under 41.5 for sure.
Green Bay, they have to win this game against the Bears to make sure they have the bye.
If they want the number 1 seed, they either have to win, or if they lose, they have to hope that New Orleans and Seattle loses.
Yeah, which is not going to happen. I think Seattle doesn't play a very good team. Not Seattle.
New Orleans plays Carolina, and Seattle plays San Francisco.
Yeah, 2 teams with a losing record. Exactly. So, I think they're going to... get out to a big lead in this game, and it's just kind of going to sit like that. And then Washington, same ordeal a little bit. Chicago can make the playoffs, I believe.
Chicago's facing Green Bay.
Yeah, but Chicago can make the playoffs if they beat Green Bay.
If they beat Green Bay or if Arizona loses to the Rams.
Yeah. And then Washington, after their stinker of a game last week, when I picked them to win.
They win, they're in.
They're in, and they're playing the Eagles, who are playing for zip.
Yes.
They're out.
They are.
So are Eagles really going to have any heart in this game?
Okay.
You wouldn't think so.
Okay.
But
the good news for Washington, they're not playing Haskins. They, in fact, released him.
they did. I laughed very hard.
One of the biggest mistakes you could make, I'm certainly not a good judge of NFL talent compared to the people that judge NFL talent, but you have to be
Idiot.
to draft an Ohio State quarterback.
Oh, I saw a new draft list today of the projected draft list.
Yes.
You want to take a guess who the Jets?
The Jets are trading that pick. They are not drafting Justin Fields.
It'd be very, very funny if they did.
It would be very funny. They are. If they don't trade the pick, I will basically shoot somebody. I mean, you screwed up the Trevor Lawrence, getting Trevor Lawrence. All you do is lose out. You got Trevor Lawrence. You screwed that up. Justin Fields is not that much better than Sam Darnold. Sorry. The problem with Sam Darnold is you haven't surrounded him with any good coaching talent or players. His receivers are all right. So you want to take a guess which one of your games I don't like?
Probably Virginia Army.
Okay. That is not the one I don't like.
Now that what was the other game? There was another game that I liked. And there's actually two games that I liked. And you told me not to play them.
Yes.
I liked Florida and Oklahoma. I liked the over, but then you informed me Florida's basically playing nobody.
Their top 4 receivers have opted out of the game.
And that was I looked at that game, and that was like my last one I put in, because I really didn't know, because it was one of those things. It's like they were +8, and I was like, that doesn't seem real, because in my opinion, Florida would kill Oklahoma, full team versus full team.
At one point, Florida was a 3-point favorite with an over/under of 71. Now they are a 9-point underdog with an over/under of 65.
Right. And now I also liked Ole Miss and Indiana over 65, because Ole Miss puts up a lot of points, but then they give up a crap ton as well.
Yes, and I liked the over in that game too.
And then you told me all their good players may play.
Yes. 2 of their top 3 receivers have opted out. The other one is questionable. Their stud tight end has opted out. Their one really good back has opted out.
So
all the playmakers on offense may not be playing.
So and Indiana ain't gonna put up 50. So
Well, you never know.
Watches 100 points in that game.
So, well, then Ole Miss found some good players on the sidelines. So you think I don't like the under in the Army-West Virginia game, huh?
Either that, or you probably don't like Washington.
All right. So anyway, here's my picks, and then I'll tell you which one I didn't like. I too like Clemson getting 7. By the way, I'm 35-40, so I need to go 5-0 just to make it to 500. Thank you. The last 2 weeks, there was a time I was above 500.
By 2.
So I like Clemson giving 7. I like the New Orleans Saints giving 6.5 at Carolina. Again, if they want to get the bye, they have to win this game and hope that Green Bay loses. And
But so they need a couple other things, because Green Bay has a tiebreaker.
No, actually, if all 3 of them tie, I think Seattle has the tiebreaker.
Oh?
Yeah. I think if Green Bay and New Orleans tie, New Orleans has the tiebreaker. If all three tie, I think Seattle has the tiebreaker.
How does New Orleans have the tiebreaker? Is my question.
Did they play Green Bay this year?
Yeah, they lost.
Are you sure they lost?
Yeah, 37-30.
Then either head-to-head is not, either I'm wrong or head-to-head is not one of the tiebreakers.
I know Green Bay doesn't have the NFC yet because they didn't clinch it yet.
Yeah.
I mean, there's
that's what we're talking about, these tiebreakers.
So whatever the tiebreaker is,
all right,
it may not be head.
So I think New Orleans, Carolina, who even knows is going to play for Carolina this week. So I think New Orleans comes out, plays a good defensive game, and wins. I'm taking the Jets.
I don't like this pick.
I'm taking just getting more than a field goal. Now, if the Jets were still winless, there is no way in hell I would have taken the Jets this week. Because I fully believe that Bill Belichick would have started people who are below the practice squad just so the Jets could get a win and not get the first draft choice. That would be something Bill Belichick would do. But since they won their last two games, they can't get the draft pick. Now it doesn't matter. And if you've been watching New England their past couple games, God, they're bad. And the Jets are actually playing good ball right now. They're playing really good defense.
They've been playing decent ball the last 8 games.
Yeah.
They just can't stop. They couldn't stop anybody for a while.
Right. But the last two games they have. They beat 2 playoff teams, or teams that are in playoff contention.
Now, if they win this game, do they drop from the 2 pick to the 3 pick?
I don't think so.
Okay, so never mind. Me saying I don't like that. Because I didn't know if they dropped to the 3 pick or not.
I like Baltimore giving 13 over Cincinnati. Again, Baltimore wins, they're in. But that's not why I like them. We've talked about this ad nauseum on the show. Whenever Baltimore plays crappy teams, they open up a can of whoop ass usually. And win games by 30, 35, 40 points.
So you're saying they're Pittsburgh. They can't beat a good team.
Right. Right. And my last game, which is the one I like the best, I like Tennessee giving 7.5 at Houston. Tennessee needs to win the game to win their division. If they don't, if Indianapolis beats Jacksonville, which you got to figure is going to happen, they would win the division. Did you watch Houston last week play against Cincinnati? That didn't look very good. That didn't look very good at all.
They lost. That's all I know. Well, one of their players came out and basically said sorry.
Yeah, their quarterback.
About the rest of the team because they didn't try.
Yes. Well,
I said that. I said that to Kiana. I was just like, if you're being paid millions of dollars not to try, get off.
Yes.
Get off the team because there'll be millions of other people that will take your spot.
After Tennessee getting rolled last week by Green Bay,
that was a fun game to watch.
They're going to come out and open up a can of hurt on Houston and win that division. They win this game by 20. So those are my picks. By the way, the pick of yours I do not like. I think the Eagles are beating the Washington football team.
So why do you think the Eagles are going to beat the Washington?
Because they're going to get up for the game because they know if they win the game, Washington doesn't go to the playoffs. That's enough to get them up. And honestly, I think they're a better football team than Washington. Especially with Jalen Hurts as their quarterback.
Or 10-1.
Yeah, but again, how many of those games were with their other quarterback? Most of them. Now, granted, they are 1-2 with Jalen Hurts as their quarterback.
So they got a can of whoop ass against the Cowboys.
Yes, but it wasn't their offense's fault. It was their defense's fault.
You put up 17 on the Cowboys. That's bad.
Yeah.
That's bad.
So those are my picks. Clemson -7, New Orleans -6.5, Jets +3.5, Baltimore 13, Tennessee -7.5. So I do want to talk about one other thing with talking about football. We all know, for those of you that watch this show, that I like to put a few shekels on a game here and there.
Yeah.
Without a doubt, the easiest way to make money betting football these days is to bet two-team teasers in the NFL. Now, what do I mean by two-team teasers? Is you pick two teams and you get to move the line by 6 points. So, let's just say we're going to take Cleveland and Pittsburgh. Cleveland's favored by 10. If you like Cleveland, you get to move the line 6 points. So now Cleveland is only favored by 4. If you like Pittsburgh, you get to move the line 6 points. Now Pittsburgh is getting 16, not the 10. There has been years. Now, the key to betting teasers, though, is you want to pass through 3 and 7. So what do I mean by that? The vast majority of NFL games, the final score either ends in a 3-point difference, a 4-point difference, a 6-point difference, or a 7-point difference. That will encompass the vast majority of NFL games. So if there's a favorite of 7.5, let's take Tennessee, you could tease them down to 1.5. So you've crossed that 7, 6, 4, and 3 number. The opposite holds true too. The Eagles are a 1.5-point underdog. So if you tease them from 1.5 to 7.5. So again, you cross the 3, the 4, the 6, and the 7. There has been some years recently where I did a 5-year study, and it was either 3 or 4 years ago. If you played every teaser that crossed all of those numbers, you lost once all season. Once. And you won 20 some odd games. That's pretty good.
That's pretty good.
So you could blindly bet two-team teasers on every team if they're favored by 7.5, 8, or 8.5. Because if they're favored by 7.5, 8, or 8.5, it goes down to 1.5, 2, 2.5. Again, you cross the 7, 6, 4, and 3. And if they're an underdog of 1.5, 2, 2.5, you tease them up. And again, you cross the 3, 4, 6, and 7. Now, there was a lot of teams last week that did that. I had one, two, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 different two-team teasers where it crossed that threshold. I've never seen this many. And interestingly enough, I lost money.
Nice.
One of them, well, let's see what the teasers were. Cleveland was a 6.5-point favorite. Well, so actually no, 6.5 doesn't count. So take that out. So there wasn't 11 of them then. Houston was a 7.5-point favorite. Teased it down to 1.5. They lost. Buffalo, which was my favorite play last week, teasing, was a 7-point favorite. Teased that down to 1. They won. Technically, you're not crossing all 4 magic numbers. You're only crossing 3. The Rams were plus 1.5. He teased it up to 7.5. They did not cover. The Bears were minus 8. Teased that down to 2. They covered. My highest betting teaser last week was Chicago minus 2 and Buffalo minus 1. I had triple digits on that teaser. All the rest were smaller. And that's it, actually. So that's if we not including Cleveland, but I will include Buffalo. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 teasers. And interestingly, only one of them won.
Nice.
So it's not a good week to talk about the theory. It's not, but trust me, it usually works. It usually works. So now, let's talk about the college football playoffs. Now we're going to get into some of our funnier bits from the year, and then we'll end it. So, we'll touch on these briefly. Alabama, they're a 20-point favorite. The over-under is 65.5. What do you think's going on in that game?
Well, I picked this game.
I know. Well, you picked the over-under in this game. I'm going to assume since you picked the over, that means you like Alabama.
By a lot.
Okay.
I don't know if they're going to cover the 20.
Okay.
I didn't take that too. But Alabama loves to pass it.
Mm-hmm.
They have Devontae Adams, probably one of the best receivers to come out in a while.
Mm-hmm.
And then they also have Najee Harris,
mm-hmm.
the best running backs to come out in a while.
Since,
even though he's not projected to go in the first round.
Since, what's his name that plays for Tennessee? Derrick Henry. Well, we've also went to Alabama.
Now, Notre Dame doesn't give up a ton of yards, but they give up most of their yards through the air.
Mm-hmm.
And Alabama loves to throw it through the air.
Mm-hmm.
So I see an easy between high 40s, low 50s out of Alabama. And I think Notre Dame cover the other 20. 15, 20.
Okay. I think Alabama covers this game. But it might be closer to a 45-21 type game. Which would still give you the victory by
fine.
half.
I said high 40s to about 20.
Yes.
That's pretty close.
Yes. I mean, Notre Dame put up a lot of points on Clemson their first game. Then their second game, they put up 10, I believe.
They looked horrible.
They did. When the stage is big, Notre Dame usually comes up small these days. Now, we both like Clemson giving 7. And the over-under in that game is 66.5. So it's actually higher than the Alabama-Notre Dame game. Obviously, we both think Clemson's going to win.
I think if this game was 10, 11, even 12, I would have still took Clemson.
Okay.
I think Clemson's going... I think it's a joke that Ohio State's in this. Yeah, they're 6-0. Great. Who'd they play? Nobody.
Penn State.
Nobody. Ooh. They even gave up almost 30 to Penn State.
Mm-hmm.
They played Northwestern. Ooh, big freaking whoop.
Mm-hmm.
They played nobody, and A&M lost one game to Alabama, who's clearly the best team in the country. It's going to be a great game between Clemson and Alabama, maybe. But Clemson, actually, ESPN has a favorite in Ohio State, believe it or not. Clemson averages for 343 yards in the air. Ohio State averages over 260 yards against in the air. And they've played nobody. Clemson's putting up 400 yards of passing. Enough said.
Okay.
I don't think... Clearly, you know what the score is going to be. A lot to not a lot.
So, do you like the over or the under?
That I don't know.
Okay.
I could see another 35-0, to be honest. I could see like 35-14. So I see Clemson somewhere in the 30s, maybe low 40s. Ohio State's not getting over 20.
So that means you like the under.
if I like, if
by
I
a
pick
lot,
one, yeah, the under.
by a lot, actually.
Yeah.
I agree. A lot of these so-called experts like Ohio State in this game. I do not. For all the
We have
reasons
no
you
idea
said.
what-
Ohio State has played nobody and hasn't looked good doing it. They struggled to beat Northwestern.
Yeah, they really did.
They were up big against Indiana and let Indiana back in it. And they played cupcakes the rest of the year. Now you're going up against Clemson. Sorry. 38-10, Clemson. So I like the under 2. So let's look then quick at the 4 potential championship games. And I'll give you what the lines are now because they have projected lines out. And you just give me who you like in the over-under. So since we think Alabama will be facing Clemson, we'll do that game last. Notre Dame and Clemson. What do you think the line is? So this will be the 3rd time they play.
Clemson by 14.
17.5 with an over-under of 58.5. Who do you like?
Clemson and what was it? 58.5?
Yeah.
Clemson and the under.
I would take Notre Dame and the over. I think because Notre Dame's going to beat Alabama. So if they're going to beat Alabama, they're going to have to score points to beat Alabama. So they'll put up points against Clemson. That game's not going to happen, though. Notre Dame, Ohio State. What do you think the line is? Just the line, not the over-under.
Ohio State by 5.
Ohio State, 9.5.
Oh, boy.
With an over-under of 62.5.
Notre Dame and the under.
I agree. In fact, I bet this game.
You get your money back when it doesn't happen.
Yes, if the game doesn't happen, you get all your money back. But there's no... If Ohio State plays Notre Dame, Ohio State's not going to beat Notre Dame by double digits. It's just not happening. So, yeah, I bet this. Ohio State, Alabama.
Alabama by 10.
Close. 9.5. Over under 72.5.
Alabama and the under because Ohio State wouldn't put up any points.
Agreed. Clemson, Alabama.
Alabama by 6.
Interestingly enough, they're 3.5. The interesting part is the over-under. The over-under for Ohio State, Alabama is 72.5. The over-under for Clemson, Alabama is 69.5.
I would take Clemson and the over.
I would definitely take the over. That's going to be an excellent game.
I don't know who's going to win that game.
And
it really can come down to which quarterback can pass it better.
I would probably lean towards Clemson getting more than a field goal. Only because they got the better defense.
I could still see Alabama putting like 40 up against, to be honest.
Well, sure. And I could see Clemson putting up 40 against Alabama, too. That's why we both like the over.
And Trevor Lawrence having 6 touchdown passes.
Yes.
Basic in that game. Because that's what would kill Alabama. They can't really... They're not that great at stopping the pass.
Yes. All right. So we'll end the night with some of the best scenes from our show. So this is a show. I actually got 2 clips from this week from a show we did July the 21st. So
let me move this.
Okay, so hopefully this plays out loud. So this is clip 1 from July 21st. To our millennial friends, the Founding Fathers were just a bunch of white racists. Really? Is that what they were? Is that what our Christopher Columbus, the guy that, sailed the seas and discovered America? Obviously, there were Native Americans here. Yes, the person in the back.
Christopher Columbus did not discover America. The Vikings did.
As I said.
The Vikings did.
As I said, Native Americans were here.
Those aren't the Vikings.
I understand. How do you know the Vikings discovered America?
They landed in Canada.
How do you know
Way
that?
before.
How do you know that?
It's written down.
Was it in Game of Thrones or something?
It's just common history knowledge that they landed up in Greenland and Canada.
Greenland's not Canada.
Well, Greenland and Canada.
I want to see the Dead Sea Scrolls on that one.
Dead Sea Scrolls.
So anyway.
And then, we could talk about Hadrada, That has nothing to do with America.
Thank you.
Hadrada.
Thank you.
What a name. That's a great name.
That is a great
name. I'm going to
name
name my kid Hadrada.
Hadrada Althouse. There you go.
He's going to conquer the United Kingdom from the Anglo-Saxons.
Sure. Again, Game of Thrones. Here we go.
That is not. No, it's not even Game of Thrones. It's just history.
He's going to lead the White Walkers.
That guy's name was not Hadrada. He was the king of Norway, you doof.
My grandson's going to lead the White Walkers.
And be the king of Norway and take over England from the Anglo-Saxons.
Lead the White Walkers. So anyway. Alright, so that's clip number 1. Bump your camera up a little bit. Your forehead's cut off. So my grandson's going to lead the White Walkers.
Whoa! It has nothing to do with Game of Thrones. Oh, have you never watched anything about the Vikings?
Yeah, Minnesota lost the Super Bowl 4 times.
Thanks. Perfect.
All right. So we started doing a segment called Stupid Laws in Each State. So I'm going to play a clip of the state of Colorado, which we obviously did not get through all the states, which once all this political BS is done, we'll pick back up with that. And we're going to get into doing some brackets again, too. So let's look at stupid laws from Colorado. So, let's end the night with the laws of Colorado.
No snowing.
The laws.
It's not allowed to snow.
It's not allowed to snow in Colorado. It is illegal to ride a horse while you're under the influence of alcohol. It is illegal to fish from the back of a horse. You can't fish from... You can fish from the front of a horse. But you can't fish from the back of a horse.
Do you get a DUI if you're on a horse?
You get a DUI.
Driving under the influence.
In Boulder, Colorado, it is illegal to permit one's llama from grazing on city property.
What about an alpaca?
Apparently, alpaca is fine.
They're the same thing.
I know. It's hard to tell the difference. They got a picture of a llama right here, and it looks like an alpaca.
I know you've seen an alpaca.
I have seen an alpaca. That's a funny story. His high school had alpacas.
For a year, we always had an animal every year. 1 year we had a cow. Yes. We had alpacas.
Your junior year, you had alpacas.
Yes.
And one Saturday, playing a soccer game at home, it was an afternoon game against Kutztown. Yes. The alpacas got loose.
And they ran around for a very long time and had about 30 people chasing them around.
I think more people were watching the alpacas than were watching the soccer game.
I was even watching the alpacas.
It was funny.
You have a video of it?
I do have a video of it. In Vail, Colorado, it is illegal to crash into obstacles on a ski slope.
Nice.
Ain't it? In Alamosa, Colorado, you are not allowed to throw a missile at a car. At a truck, it's fine.
Throw a missile. More with the missile in the back pocket kind of thing. As long as it's a nuclear missile.
It just says a missile. That's all it says.
So as long as it's a nuke, we're good.
I got this hydrogen missile bomb. Can't throw it at the Honda.
But you can throw it.
But I can throw it at the Freightliner truck over there.
I was gonna say the Ford.
Here's an interesting one. If the last one wasn't interesting, here's an interesting one. In Sterling, Colorado, cats may not run loose unless they are fitted with tail lights. You gotta put lights on the cat's tail.
Okay.
Then they can run loose.
Got it.
I would love to see that.
What's in the field? Oh, it's just a cat.
In Boulder, Colorado, you are not allowed to mutate. In Boulder, Colorado, you are not allowed to mutilate a rock or a boulder. In Boulder, Colorado, you are not allowed to mutilate a boulder. In Aspen, Colorado, you are not allowed to fire a catapult at a building. So does that mean you can't load up the catapult with a fireball, or you can't throw a catapult at a building?
You're not allowed to throw a catapult at the building.
In Aspen, Colorado, catapults may not be fired at buildings. All right, so that was some of the stupid laws from Colorado. Mennonites cannot live. There we go.
Can't throw a catapult at a building.
Can't throw a catapult at a building. Or a missile at a car.
A missile at a car, yeah.
Yes. All right, so on a show in June the 30th, interestingly enough, you have the same shirt on.
Do I really?
Yes, you do. We read some horoscopes from the 70s.
Oh, I remember this.
Horoscopes from the 70s.
Oh, they were pretty funny. Okay, well, we stretching?
Halftime stretch.
Halftime stretch.
I got sent something today.
By who?
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
It was horoscopes from 1979.
Okay.
I'm going to read yours.
Mine.
And then I'm going to read mine.
So just Scorpio.
Yes, okay. You're a Scorpio. These are pretty funny. 1979.
Okay.
1979.
Because they can get away with it.
Yeah, that's exactly why. Who said that?
Christine.
Of course she did. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's pretty small, so I really got to get in close because I'm blind.
I just meant that paper.
Oh. All right, are you ready for this?
Yeah.
It says, you're the worst of the lot. That's how it starts. You are the worst of the lot.
There's a reason they say that.
You are shrewd in business and can't be trusted. You shall achieve the pinnacle of success because of your lack of ethics. You are a perfect son of a bitch.
Well, they say that because...
Can I finish?
Oh, you're not done.
Most scorpions are murderers.
You know why they...
All right, so I'm pausing that here. And I'm going to play it again, but I want you to listen to the reasoning that you give behind this.
Behind what?
Behind why most Scorpios are son of a bitches and murderers. And
yeah, there is a reason.
you certainly gave a reason, all right.
Say this. Do you know why?
Go ahead.
Okay, because February is 9 months before November.
Yeah.
So Valentine's Day, a lot of
yeah.
happens. So most of the population is born in November.
Are you telling me you were conceived on Valentine's Day?
Maybe. But so most of the population, a lot of it's born in November. So it just so happens that there's more murderers born in November because there's more population that's born in November. It's such a dumb thing.
That was an astute explanation of why there's more murderers. What an astute observation.
How does that not make any sense to you?
What an astute observation.
There's more... So there's more people born in November.
Sure. Back to the video.
Average population, there's more people born in November, so if you take the average, if there's an average of every month of murderers, since the higher average is in November, the higher average of murders is in November. That is why.
It said all murderers are Scorpios. Back to the video.
Well, I mean, I could also come up with another way. You got your Valentine's Day one-night stands, and then daddy doesn't want to be in the family
to pay child support. Yeah.
So he pays child support. Mother doesn't care. So what do? Go to life of crime.
Okay, now
that's all they can do.
Now mine. I'm a Cancer, of course. I'm a disease.
I'm a disease.
I'm a disease. Of course I'm a Cancer. Everybody knows that's been watching tonight. My birthday's in 2 days.
She's a Cancer.
You are sympathetic and understanding of other people's problems, which makes you a sucker. You are always putting things off. That is why you will always be on welfare and not worth shit. Everybody who's in prison is a Cancer. So I guess when you commit murder, the police are just going to shoot you because you're not in prison, or either that or you're going to get away with it. Because everybody who's in prison's a Cancer.
Well, I guess I got to frame you.
So I'm a sucker.
I'm a son of a bitch.
I'll always be on welfare, not worth a piece of shit, and you're a son of a bitch. If anybody else would like theirs read, just let me know what astrological sign you are, and I will read to you what your horoscope is from 1979.
So that tells you what you're going to be, Kiana. You're a Cancer.
You're a disease. When's her birthday?
July 14th.
We already discussed this. I've had to ask that question 17 times. It's like as soon as I ask it, I know it's July 14th. I don't know why I keep asking.
So
Leo. Of course you're a Leo. Of course. If I had to guess what you are either going to be a Leo or a Gemini. Of course.
I don't even know when Leo is.
It's right after
This
March.
is Christine, by the way.
You consider yourself a born leader. No duh. No duh. Others think you're an idiot.
No duh.
No duh.
You good?
No. All right. Let me start over. You are, where is it? You consider yourself a born leader. Others think you're an idiot. Most Leo. You are vain and can't tolerate honest criticism. Your arrogance is disgusting. Why am I offline? Did I just go offline?
At this point, we actually did go
No.
offline for a couple seconds.
Interesting. On my TV, I went offline, but we're still live. Somebody tell me we're... Oh,
There's
we
only
are.
2 people watching.
Okay, because it dropped off.
A little glitch.
Must have a little bit. All right, everybody let me know you're still there.
Then we have to do Pisces.
I see that. Okay, we must still be there. I don't know.
Yeah, now we're back to 9.
Okay, it said 90. It said we were online, and it said we were. All right, let me start over again. Leo, you consider yourself a born leader. Others think you're an idiot. Most Leos are bullies. You are vain and can't tolerate honest criticism. Your arrogance is disgusting. Leo people are thieving.
Do you need me to read this?
No. Leo people are thieving and motherfuckers. And spend most of their time kissing minors. Oh man. Alrighty then.
Is that good on there?
Alright, no. No. Alright.
That'd be funny if just one said, "You are perfect." That was it.
Pisces. That would make sense that you're a Pisces, Sam.
Why does that make sense?
Because from what I know of all the astrological signs, knowing her would say she's Pisces. It would have been either. She's definitely not an Aquarius. She would either be a Pisces or what's the other one I'm thinking of? A Virgo, I think. But Pisces makes sense for her. You have a vivid imagination and often think you are followed by the FBI or the CIA. You have no influence on your friends, and people resent you for flaunting your power. You lack confidence and are generally a dipshit. Alrighty then. Anybody else want theirs read? Anybody? Anybody out there? Hello.
Bueller?
Bueller. Libra. Libra for Carl. Libra. You are artistic and have a difficult time with reality. If you are male, you are nil. Most Libra women are whores. All Libras die of venereal disease. Libra is short. Sorry, Carl. You're dying of chlamydia.
Your
or
sister
something
apparently
like
didn't hear the Scorpio.
All right. So that was our horoscope episode.
Those were pretty funny.
All right. The next one we did June the 2nd. June the 2nd. This is before we got haircuts, by the way.
Oh.
When all barbershops were still closed. June the 2nd. Hey, you have a different shirt on this time.
Hey.
So the state of Minnesota.
Hockey.
Minnesota.
We talking about hockey yet?
Oops. Don't bust my back butt scratcher.
Butt scratcher.
Butt scratcher. Don't bust my butt scratcher.
Please tell me you don't actually wipe your butt with that.
Wouldn't you like to know? Just on the other end.
Oh, that's what I was holding.
Exactly. Go ahead. You want to sniff your fingers, don't you?
No, they don't smell like ass. It's all right.
I just have a really good smelling ass.
If your ass smells like that, you should be a model or something.
And I don't bleach. I do not.
TMI.
I do not. Joe Scarsborough does.
Trump won PA.
All right. Butt scratcher. Butt
All right.
scratcher.
Apparently you wipe something with that. Scratch some of that.
All right. This next one is from May. You have another Penn State shirt on, by the way.
Yes.
This is a story that you and I have told a few times. Not necessarily just on the show, but in general talking to people. Okay? It involves a little fat kid. That's all I'm going to say. It involves a little fat kid. Do you know what it is just by that or not? Here we go.
You were just starting your senior year.
That was a senior.
Senior? All right. So it was just at the beginning of his senior year, and we used to always go to the high school football games. And we were there, and they always have, why'd
that stop? Oh, there it is.
They call blue and white night to start the season, and they introduce all the varsity players. They walk through this tunnel, basically, of kids from the middle school that make up the middle school teams.
Middle school, elementary. It goes all the way down to the club teams.
Yeah, some club teams. And I happened to notice that on one of the, I guess it was a club team, there was a goalie, and he was a little
Chunky.
portly. Chunky. He was a chunk. He was a chunk. Okay. So we just so happened to see the kid at the football game Friday night.
Yeah.
And the previous season, he was voted Division II goalie of the year. There was Division I, Division II, and Division III. Mm-hmm. And he got Division II because that's the division their team was in, Division II. Division I is all the schools with the most
population.
The schools with the most people in it. Then you got the middle schools, and then you got the lower schools. So we see this portly fat kid. I'm not fat shaming him.
Watch, he's now 6'1".
Yeah,
and like
yeah. We should look up this kid.
160 pounds.
Yeah, we have to look up this kid. He wouldn't be hard to find. We're talking to him about soccer, and I said, what's going to happen this year? And I undersold you. It turned out.
Yeah.
I said that you're talking to the kid who's going to be the two-time Division II Keeper of the Year. Two-time. I kept saying it. The two-time Keeper of the Year. So the kid kind of looks up at me and he goes, "Why not Division One? Like why not one? Like he was like ashamed that you weren't going to be the Division One Player of the Year." And we're trying to explain to him he doesn't play in Division One. He plays in Division Two. He can't be the Division One player.
My goal that year was to be the second team all county.
Yes, your goal was to be second team all.
And I was in English class one day,
and that's when I emailed you. So, yeah, the little fat kid.
You gonna go look for him now?
He's probably 6'1" and cut.
He's probably the lineman on the football team or something.
Okay, so we got a couple more to go, and obviously we got to talk about last week's show.
Well, that was a treat, wasn't it?
When we made our singing debut.
Ugh.
Now, unfortunately, I didn't know this until I went back and rewatched it, that recently I had to switch hardware on something that we use to go out onto the internet. I used to use a thing called an Elgato, and when we upgraded the software that we use, the Elgato didn't work anymore, so I had to use our alternate thing that we have, what's called a Camlink. Well, the speed at which they work are different, so the audio delays are different. The Elgato was set for 3/4 of a second delay. The Camlink, I actually don't need a delay. So last week when we used the Camlink, it was still set at the Elgato delay, so there's a little bit of a delay. So we're not completely matched up. But for those of you that were not watching, here is our singing.
Please don't tell me this is the last thing you're doing.
It's not. You should know which one is the last one.
Okay.
Our singing debut.
All right, are you ready? This is our singing debut here on Phatts TV. Can't believe we're about to make a fool out of ourselves. All right, here we go. Are you ready? 3, 2, 1. Da-da-da-da-da-da. The first day of quarantine, Wolf took from me dinner with my family.
The second day of quarantine, Wolf took from me freedom to travel.
And dinner with my family. The third day of quarantine, Wolf took from me going to movies.
Freedom to travel.
And dinner with my family.
On the fourth day of quarantine, Wolf took from me in-person learning.
Going to movies.
Freedom to travel.
And dinner with my family. The fifth day of quarantine, Wolf took from me Planet Fitness.
In-person learning.
Going to movies.
Freedom to travel.
And dinner with my family.
On the sixth day of quarantine, Wolf took from me hitting casino jackpot.
Planet Fitness.
In-person learning.
Going to movies.
Freedom to travel.
And dinner with my family. The seventh day of quarantine, Wolf took from me attending rock concerts.
Hitting casino jackpot.
Planet Fitness.
In-person learning.
Going to movies.
Freedom to travel.
And dinner with my family.
On the eighth day of quarantine, Wolf took from me playing Miss Pac-Man.
Attending rock concerts.
Hitting casino jackpot.
Planet Fitness.
In-person learning.
Going to movies.
Freedom to travel.
And dinner with my family. The ninth day of quarantine, Wolf took from me lap dancing strippers.
Playing Miss Pac-Man.
Attending rock concerts.
Hitting casino jackpot.
Planet Fitness.
In-person learning.
Going to movies.
Freedom to travel.
And dinner with my family.
On the 10th day of quarantine, Wolf took from me getting drunk at bowling.
Lap dancing strippers.
Playing Miss Pac-Man.
Attending rock concerts.
Hitting casino jackpot.
Planet Fitness.
In-person learning.
Going to movies.
Freedom to travel.
And dinner with my family. The 11th day of quarantine, Wolf took from me Holy Communion,
Getting drunk at bowling.
lap dancing strippers,
Playing Miss Pac-Man.
attending rock concerts,
Teen Casino Jackpot.
Planet Fitness,
In-person learning.
going to movies,
Freedom to travel.
and dinner with my family.
On the 12th day of quarantine, Wolf took from me a weekly paycheck.
Holy Communion,
Getting drunk at bowling.
lap dancing strippers,
Playing Miss Pac-Man.
attending rock concerts,
Hitting Casino Jackpot.
Planet Fitness,
In-person learning.
going to movies,
Freedom to travel.
and dinner with my family.
Yeah!
Boy, did we make
So that was our singing debut.
I think it's impressive, A, that we nailed that. We did not screw that up.
Nope.
After sing it sort of once.
Yep. Yep. So
We have to
then,
do that every year for our Christmas show. We have to do that.
yes, probably.
All right, I'll do a new one.
So then later on, now this is going to be a long clip.
Ugh.
We did story time.
Oh, really? That's not the
No, there's one more after this.
Okay, about
One
to
more after this.
say. If it's not the one I'm thinking of,
It's the one you're thinking of. It's the funniest one. That's why I'm saving it for last. It's the funniest.
funniest thing we've said.
Yes. So we did story time a little later on in our Christmas episode. Now this, I debated back and forth whether to play this because it is a pretty long clip, but the story is pretty good. At least I thought it was. So let's pull up our fireside chat screen.
So that's our story screen, and we got Daniel in here, the non-genetically proven elf. We got him in here too.
So the second time we ever use this, it's for a story.
It's for a story.
One of the most serious talks we had
Yes.
about like JFK,
Yep.
and now we're doing a Christmas story.
And now we're doing a Christmas story. Yes. Now, this story was written in two parts.
Two parts.
Two parts. So I was told. There's a rhyming part and a non-rhyming part.
So somebody got lazy, is what you're
But
saying.
it goes like rhyming, non-rhyming, rhyming.
So you're saying somebody kind of got lazy when writing it.
Apparently. Yes, apparently. So, here goes. You can figure out who wrote this, probably. Probably. In pure PA Phatts fashion. All right. Let me get my all serious. Gather around, boys and girls. We're going to tell a story now. A Christmas story. Just for you. A Christmas story. Here we go. 'Twas the night before Christmas, and all through the house not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse. Families sat in silence in front of their TV screens. You see, Christmas was canceled. Santa had COVID-19. The stockings will stay empty, no presents under the tree. All the children were crying. There was no joy and glee. Mom and Dad stood there with the look of despair. Both of them were thinking, this is very unfair. Whoever, this person can rhyme pretty good.
Yeah.
The children went upstairs to get into their beds. Tonight there would be no sugar plums dancing in their heads. Now comes the unrhyming part. At the same time, in a little house in a little town, in the middle of nowhere, sat a guy who was watching the same news program. He lived alone in virtual solitude. The people in the town only knew him as Old Man Phatts. But Old Man Phatts, you see, had a secret. You see, boys and girls, Old Man Phatts used to go by a different name. His name was Santa Claus. Long since retired from his craft was Old Man Phatts. He turned over the job of Santa to his apprentice more than a decade ago. Right then and there, Old Man Phatts decided that Christmas needed to go on. He picked up his phone and called his closest friend when he donned that name of Santa Claus. His friend's name was the non-genetically proven elf. Together, they were going to ride again for one night only so all the children in the world could have Christmas. But sadly, the elf did not answer his phone. Old Man Phatts sent a text, but received no reply. Time was running short. They had to get to the North Pole now. But where was the elf? Old Man Phatts knew that if the elf didn't answer, he could only be in one place. So he got in his truck and drove. And sure enough, he found his trusted old confidant at the old lady's house who lives in the skook.
Whoa.
What?
This is a lie. I would answer my phone. You're the one that doesn't answer your phone. And I would never do that.
You wouldn't be at the old lady's house. It's story time. It's story time. So let's say it again. He got into his truck and drove, and sure enough, he found his old trusted confidant at the old lady who lives in the skook's house. Seems the elf was getting his jollies on, if you know what I mean. Old Man Phatts yelled in the house for the elf to come out. The elf yelled back, "I just started. You'll have to wait."
You gotta do that better. You gotta go, "I just started."
No. nice try. Old Man Phatts yelled into the house for the elf to come out. The elf yelled back. You want to do it in your voice?
No.
"I just started. You'll have to wait." There was nothing Old Man Phatts could do. About 90 seconds went by and the elf appeared. 90 seconds, a record. The elf is getting better. You may not know what that means, boys and girls, but your parents sure do. The elf got in Old Man Phatts' truck and they went off to the North Pole. Now for a little secret. The North Pole isn't that far away, and someone is about to laugh at the next line. If someone's listening close, they're going to laugh at the next line, and no one else is going to know what it means. But trust me, someone's going to laugh at this. I will read it again. The elf got to Old Man Phatts' truck, and off they went to the North Pole. Now a little secret. The North Pole isn't that far away. It's just outside the town named Storuca. Feel free to look up Storuca on a map. It's there. Someone's laughing hysterically right now, I promise you. When Phatts and the elf arrived, they found Santa pale and frail, but he recognized his old mentor. Christmas was back on. They quickly packed up the sled. Santa, Phatts, and the non-genetically proven elf jumped in, but they couldn't find the keys to start the sleigh. Have you ever tried to hotwire a sleigh before? It ain't fun. They finally got it started, but the sleigh did not move. Santa Phatts then remembered he had to call the reindeer by name to get them to go. But what were their names? Would Santa Phatts remember? He knew one had the name of a roller coaster at Hershey Park, but which one? Super Duper Looper? No. Sidewinder? No. Oh! Great Bear! Damn, that's not it either. What the hell is it? Oh, Comet. With that, Comet's head bucked up and his hooves started to move. But what were the rest? Gosh, it's been so long, and you know, Santa Phatts smokes a little, from time to time he, lights up a, so, it kind of takes your memory. But thankfully, the non-genetically proven elf had his cell phone with unlimited data. They got an internet connection. Times sure have changed since the last time Santa Phatts was here. Obviously, Al Gore came to the town and gave him the internet. Al Gore came to right near Storuca and gave him the internet. They named the names on Dasher, on Dancer, on Prancer, on Vixen, on Comet, on Cupid, on Donner, on Blitzen. With the sound of roaring thunder, they were off. The sleigh sure had some upgrades to it from the last time Old Man Phatts was in there. It now had a 1,600 horsepower Hennessy twin-turbo V8. Dang, that thing moved. No wonder why there's seatbelts in there now.
Do you even know what that means?
It's a big engine. It's an engine that goes fast.
If you want to just put it in basic terms.
Trust me, the writer told me he had to Google that to find it bigger. Now it goes back to rhyming, by the way. Now the story goes back to rhyming. So you can see where they might have inserted some parts here. So it must have been midnight when the dad was awakened. So now we're back on the family. Back on the family that's not seeing the sugar plums dancing right in their head. It must have been around midnight when Dad was awakened. He thought he heard a noise. He wasn't mistaken. There it was again, a crash and a bang. Dad was really worried, so out of bed he sprang. He put on his robe and cinched it up tight. He went to investigate. Something definitely wasn't right. These are pretty simple, right? Did a kindergartner write this thing? He walked downstairs to have a look around, and to his surprise, nothing was found. The living room looked normal, and so did the den. He started back upstairs when he heard the sound again. It was coming from the roof, so Dad turned around. Towards the front door he went to investigate the sound. Well, at least whoever did this knows how to rhyme.
Yeah, that's something.
He put on his boots and threw on his coat and hat, and out the door he went. He didn't waste any time, not a moment was spent. He soon found where the noise came from, and to his surprise, there were two people on the roof. It looked like two guys. One looked skinny while the other looked fat. Dad yelled up to them and told them to scat. That got their attention, and the skinny guy whipped around. He lost his footing and fell to the ground. He landed in a pile of snow. The skinny guy was dazed. Surprisingly uninjured, the dad was amazed. He helped him up and said, "Who are you?" "Why, I'm the non-genetically proven elf," said the man. "Yes, it's true." The old man on the roof, "Well, that's Santa Phatts," claimed the elf. "We're here to save Christmas. We brought you some stuff. But we have a problem," the elf tried to explain. "Unlike me, Phatts ain't skinny. He's stuck in the chimney." Who the hell wrote this? Dad went to the garage and grabbed a large ladder. When they got to the roof, there was much laughter. Santa Phatts was indeed stuck around his belly. He wiggled and wiggled like a bowl full of jelly. The two men tugged, and soon Santa Phatts was loose. It was surprisingly easy, knowing the size of his caboose. Who the hell wrote this? The elf grabbed a bag of presents, and they all went inside. Phatts had to squeeze through the door. Yes, he's really that wide. The elf was thirsty, so he asked the dad for a beer. He only had Bud Light, which you know is really, really queer. Santa Phatts was hungry. It was time to eat, of course. There was some ricotta cookies on the counter. Oh man, what a treat. They all sat at the table talking about wine, women, and song. They lost all track of hours. They were there way too long. The non-genetically proven elf said, "It's time to go. We've barely made a dent." But Santa Phatts had to poop, so off to the bathroom he went. He did his business quickly, but he clogged the toilet so. He started to panic when it overflowed. Phatts didn't say a word. He figured he'd leave one more gift, figuring he'd get away with it as long as nobody took a whiff. So they left the house quickly, went back up on the roof, jumped in their sleigh. They fastened their belts and were on their way. Dad waved goodbye as they flew out of sight, exclaiming, "Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night." The end.
So that was our story from last week. Talking about the size of my caboose, I tell you.
How you're really that wide.
Okay. Now for our last clip. This goes all the way back to our very first episode, which during that time was day 3 of quarantine. Remember, 14 days to flatten the curve some 300 days ago?
Yeah.
Or 270 days ago? Flatten the curve. Which, by the way, Wolf, I read today said we are opening back up Monday the 4th of January.
Yeah,
I did
back
read
to
that.
the restrictions we were on.
Yes. So we'll see if it actually happens. And
No,
you
still
know,
have to wear a mask.
in the story that we just played, we made fun of Bud Light. As I was going through these episodes, we made fun of Bud Light one other time. We did.
Bud Light sucks.
All right. So this was back from our very first episode. If you joined us that night, you remember this for sure. I know the non-genetically proven son of myself thought this is by far our funniest scene. It's a shame it happened in episode 1. They were all downhill from there. So off we go.
You told me you were growing something.
Yeah, I was growing something, all right. Well, here's the thing. I finally hit puberty, and I'm proud of it. Yeah, that's what it is. It took me, I'm not going to say how old I am, but, you know, I'm...
Hold on. Yeah. When I was testing it before, I didn't have the right time. Let me set the time.
Guess I gotta stop eating again.
Yeah.
Yes, while that story was going on, I went and made food.
Yeah, I saw. All right, here we go. Okay.
You know, it's supposed to be you're supposed to stay inside. Young people that are watching now, stay inside. See, just because you don't get sick doesn't mean you can't be a carrier. You know, you could be outside doing whatever you're doing. Let's say you like to play basketball. You're out there on the court with your friends. You know, white man can't jump. You know, you're shooting
What's
some
that
hoops.
supposed to mean? Whoa,
You're shooting
whoa.
some. What?
What do you mean white men can't
You
jump?
probably didn't even know there was a movie called White Man Can't Jump.
No.
No, of course not. You might want to watch it sometime. It's pretty good. We're going to Sizzler. That comes from that movie.
Of course it does.
Of course it does. So anyway, you know, one of your friends who doesn't know that they have it because they're a carrier, they come home, you know, they give it to you, and then you get it, and you come home, and you kiss Grandma on the forehead, and Grandma's dead in a week! You want to kill Grandma? Seriously, do you want to kill Grandma? Do you want to kill Grandma?
No.
Then don't go outside!
Then don't go kiss grandma on the forehead.
But still, you can kill Grandma. And what did Grandma do? Grandma, you know, baked you cookies. You know, she took care of you when Mommy and Daddy were up to work. She changes your diaper God knows how many times. And you killed Grandma! Because you couldn't sit inside for 2 weeks. You know, my grandfather's generation went and fought a damn war, and you can't sit inside for 2 weeks. Killing Grandma. Bastard. Bastard.
Oh, I'm probably going outside tomorrow. I'm probably going to go golf on Friday.
Don't go kiss your grandma.
I'm not going to kiss my grandma.
Oy vey. I better turn the mic down.
So that was killing Grandma.
The best part is when you literally just go, "You're gonna kill Grandma's dead. Wait, do you want to kill Grandma?" Turn.
Let's see if I set the time right on this one.
Probably.
I get a lot of
Probably.
money if that happens.
For my skook friends up there, we have to make fun of too. So, you guys get it. Man, why do they call it the coronavirus anyway?
I have no idea.
Any idea? I mean, whatever alcohol company came up with this to call it the coronavirus, bravo to you guys. Because, I saw some type of survey last week where 38% of people are not drinking Corona now because of the virus. And I'm sure these are all of your generation.
Those are the people that don't vote for him either.
Apparently not.
Those are the people that think Bernie's a good candidate.
Oh, good old Bernie. It's a shame that Bernie's not. We'll get back to the Corona thing. It's a shame that Bernie's not going to get the nomination because we really do need to have the conversation in this country about capitalism versus socialism. Because Bernie's Mr. Socialism.
All right, then it goes on and on and on.
Yeah.
By the way, that's the clip where we make fun of Bud. Because we go back into talking about the alcohol, how they came up with the coronavirus. And I said, the guys from Bud probably, came up with that name to get people to stop drinking Corona and start drinking Bud.
If that's actually true, that's pathetic. Those 38% of people also probably voted for Biden.
Yeah.
He would be a good candidate.
So that was our clips, the best clips that I found for our show from the past year. Save the best for last. Killing Grandma is by far the and Grandma's dead in a week. You trying to kill Grandma?
Just terrible. Hey.
By the way, there was a clip from that episode too where I tried to get you to remember what you cooked 2 days earlier for dinner.
Okay.
And your girlfriend was here at the time.
She was, because she just had said to me today she remembers the first episode because she had to come downstairs and make sure it worked.
Yes. And you were saying, how you cooked like M&M pancakes. I'm like, how come I didn't get any pancakes? And then you said, I was cooking dinner for the last couple days. I'm like, all right, what'd you make 2 days ago? And like, you couldn't remember. And I said, now you think. And you couldn't remember. So you called her down and you're like, what did we have to eat 2 days ago? And she said, we ordered Chinese. She goes, it's in the refrigerator.
See, there's one clip I thought you were going to bring up, but you didn't. When he shoved the pizza in my face.
Oh, you know what? But you got mad. You didn't find that funny. So.
Yeah, because it went in my eye. It burned for like hours.
All right, so that's going to do it for tonight. We went like 45 minutes longer than I expected to. The first part of the show went long because I really wanted to discuss that article in the New York Times website. That really bothered me. It really did. All right, so we will be back on our regular Tuesday, Thursday rotation next week. Next week is going to be a very interesting week. Some shit might go down on the 6th, and we'll certainly talk about that on the 5th. So we're going to do a show before the 6th. We'll do it on the 5th. So stay tuned. Will be interesting. Please, if you're out partying tomorrow night, don't drink and drive. We want to see you all here on Tuesday.
Remember, call AAA. They'll do it for free.
Yeah.
They'll tow your car for free.
And if you live around where we do, don't drive on Friday because we're supposed to get a decent amount of freezing rain. So they're saying. That includes you up there. It's supposed to be freezing rain up there too, not snow.
I haven't left my apartment in 2 days.
Well, if you need food, get it tomorrow.
Maybe I should go get a little bit of groceries tomorrow, some meat and stuff.
There you go.
There you go. Basically, I have pasta.
So, on next Thursday's show, we're going to go back into the archives, and we're going to play clips of our predictions of who was going to win what divisions in the NFL. And we're going to go over to see how we did. So it'll be interesting to see how we did.
I think we're going to be pretty close.
We are. I know one division we got completely wrong, and that's we both picked Baltimore to win that division.
I was going to say the NFC East, because I'm pretty sure we both picked Philly.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we did. And they're going to finish last.
Yeah.
Unless if they win, then they'll finish third. Unless if the Giants and Dallas both tie. All right, and we'll make predictions for the playoffs. Straight through to the Super Bowl. And we'll have a little competition between us two where we have to pick every game of the playoffs. Both sides and over-unders. You have to pick everything, and we'll keep separate stats for sides and separate stats for over-unders. And of course, this is going to be just for fun, but we'll see how we do. I have to make sure that the playoffs are how they always were, that the highest seed remaining still plays the lowest seed. So in other words, they reseed like they do in the NFL. Just want to make sure that they're doing that. A side note, hockey is going to be back in a couple weeks, so we will do some type of hockey preview.
There's going to be some interesting people wearing a Washington sweater this year.
Yes, there is.
Unfortunately, Lundqvist can't play.
Yeah.
But there are other. I mean, imagine him and Zdeno Chara wearing red.
It's gonna be interesting.
It's gonna look a little bit weird.
All right. So I'm going to watch football. Probably missed, most of the first quarter now.
I am watching Penn State basketball.
Okay.
They're wearing their jersey that I'm wearing.
Okay.
Pink
and the
black.
score is
12-7, not them.
okay.
This is actually the worst game that they started. They usually start really well.
Okay. All right, everybody. Again, have a safe, happy, and healthy New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. Eat your pork and sauerkraut on New Year's Day if you so desire, which is tradition around the area that I live in. I will not be eating pork and sauerkraut.
You don't like sauerkraut?
Not really. So, for the final time in 2020, remember as we part, where we go one,
we go all.
have a good one, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see you.